I was standing on the gravel path, hidden by the shadow of a willow tree when I saw them. They hadn't seen me. My mother Susan was pointing at the door. My father Mark stood beside her, arms crossed, nodding like this was all perfectly normal. And my brother Leo, the golden child, was smiling, holding a coffee for a strange man. A man who was holding a power drill. A man who was actively drilling the brand new deadbolt on the door of my boathouse. My door. The betrayal wasn't a whisper. It was the sound of metal screaming. Have you ever felt like the invisible one in your own family? Let me know your story down in the comments. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. They expected me to run out waving my arms, demanding to know why. They were probably looking forward to it. But I'm an archivist. I don't destroy evidence. I collect it. I stepped back further into the shadow of the willow and raised my phone. The zoom was grainy, but it was clear enough. 45 seconds of video. I captured the drill hitting the lock. I captured my mother Susan handing the locksmith a bottle of water. I captured Leo laughing. Then I switched to photo mode. The locksmith's van, the license plate, my father's car. Click, click, click. My heart wasn't pounding. It was steady. It was cold. I dialed 911. The dispatcher's voice was calm. 911. What's your emergency? I'm at 2248 Harborview Drive. I am reporting an active break-in at my property. My voice didn't waver. Are they armed? One of them has a power drill and is attempting to defeat the lock on my front door. Ma'am, do you know these people? Yes, I said. It's my family. 10 minutes later, a cruiser crunched up the gravel path. I watched Officer Riley step out of his car. The drilling stopped instantly. The silence was sudden and heavy. I watched their heads turn. Leo's smile evaporated. My mother dropped the water bottle. I finally stepped out from the trees, my phone still in my hand. Their faces. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't shame. It was annoyance. They were annoyed that I had interrupted them. Eliza, my mother. Susan said, her voice sharp with false cheer. Honey, what on earth? We were trying to get in to make sure everything was okay. Officer Riley looked at me, then at the door, then at the locksmith, who looked like he wanted to be swallowed by the earth. Ma'am, Officer Riley said to me, is this your property? Yes, officer. Here's my ID. Here is the deed which I have on my phone. I was prepared. I'm always prepared. And these people, that is my mother Susan, my father Mark, and my brother Leo. Sir Officer Riley said to my father, what are you doing here? And why did you hire this man to drill the lock? My father Mark actually chuckled. A small, nervous laugh. Officer, this is a huge misunderstanding. This is our daughter. We were just checking on the place. She hasn't been herself. We were worried. We just wanted to make sure it was secure. Leo stepped forward. Yeah, she just bought it. We're just trying to help. She always overreacts. Officer Riley looked at the drill. He looked at the deep, fresh scratches in the wood. He looked at me. She overreacts. I said nothing. I just held up my phone showing the video I'd just taken. The officer sighed. He spent the next 20 minutes explaining unlawful entry and criminal mischief. The locksmith packed his tools so fast he nearly tripped. Because it was a domestic issue, no one was arrested. Officer Riley told them they were being given a formal warning for trespassing and that if they returned, they would be arrested. They left. They didn't even look at me. I sat in my car for a long time listening to the birds return. I should have been shaking. I should have been furious. I just felt clear. To understand why I called the police on my own family, you need to understand my job. I'm Eliza, 30 years old, an architectural archivist. My job is to take the chaotic, decaying records of the past blueprints, letters, faded photographs, and put them in order. I create files, I label spines, I make sense of the mess. In my family, I was expected to do the same. I was the silent organizer, the fixer, the one who sorted out the tax forms, the one who navigated the insurance claims, the one who remembered the birthdays. I was the person who cleaned up the emotional and financial messes they left behind. And this was just one more mess. That incident at the boathouse wasn't the start, it was the result. The catalyst for buying the boathouse in the first place had happened 3 weeks earlier over a text message. My phone lit up with the family group chat. My mother, Susan, had sent a picture of a turkey. Thanksgiving plans, can't wait to have everyone here. Leo and Chloe are coming in on Wednesday. I waited. I waited for the Eliza. What can you bring? Or, Eliza, are you driving up Thursday morning? Nothing. So I typed, sounds great, Mom. Should I come on Wednesday night or Thursday morning? The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then a private message from her, not even in the group. Oh, honey, we figured you'd be swamped with year-end work at the archive. And Leo and Chloe are having a hard time. We just want a small, quiet day. It's just less drama this way. We'll do something with you for Christmas, I promise. It's just less drama this way. The words hung there on my screen. I wasn't family. I was drama. The boathouse wasn't an impulse buy. It was an escape hatch I'd been building for 5 years. That text was just the final key. This isn't bitterness, it's accounting. Let's look at the ledger. 3 years ago, Leo, my brother, decided he was going to be a startup genius. He needed a coding boot camp. The cost was $2,500. My parents co-signed a family loan, which meant they turned to me. You're so good with money, Eliza. He'll pay you back as soon as his first round of funding closes. I paid it. I told myself it was an investment. Leo never finished the course. He used the last $500 to take his girlfriend Chloe on what he called a wellness and networking trip to Sedona. I know this because I saw the credit card statement. Why did I see the statement? Because I, Eliza the archivist, also double as Eliza the unpaid auditor. Every April, I'm the one who gets a shoebox full of crumpled receipts from Leo's startup, which is really just a website that sells imported water bottles, and I'm the one who has to organize them into a spreadsheet, so his accountant doesn't charge him triple. I am the fixer, the organizer, the auditor. I used to think this was just how families worked. But sitting there staring at that less drama text, I finally understood the system. I wasn't just helping, I was playing a designated role. In these kinds of toxic family structures, there's a psychological blueprint. There's always a golden child, and there's always an invisible hand. The golden child, that's Leo. He was assigned to carry all of my parents' hopes and their public image. He's the visionary, the creative, the one who is exciting. His failures are just learning experiences. His debts are investments. And then there's the invisible hand. That's me. My role was to carry the actual labor, the heavy lifting, the spreadsheet balancing the tax forms, the $2,500 loans, the listening to my mother cry about Leo for an hour. The invisible hand is only valued for its function. We're appreciated for what we do, for fixing, for paying, for listening, but we are never ever valued for who we are. The second the invisible hand stops fixing, stops paying, and asks for something in return, it's no longer seen as a hand. It's seen as a fist. It's seen as drama. I looked at the text message again. It's just less drama this way. I closed the chat. I opened my banking app. I transferred the last of my savings into my checking account. I didn't buy the boathouse to spite them. I bought it because the ledger finally balanced. I had paid my dues. I was done. I got back to my studio apartment in the city. I made a cup of tea. I sat at my desk, the one piled high with architectural drawings, and I waited. It took exactly 34 minutes for the digital assault to begin. My phone, which had been silent, began to vibrate against the wood of my desk. A text from my mother, Susan. Eliza, I have never been so embarrassed in my entire life. Calling the police on your family. What is wrong with you? You've made a scene and you've terrified your brother. You need to fix this. I read the message. I didn't feel anger. I felt validated. It wasn't, I'm sorry we tried to break into your house. It was, I'm angry you embarrassed me. I took a screenshot. The next text was from Leo. It was a wall of text full of typos. Are you insane? You called the cops on me. We were just trying to help you. That place is just sitting there. Chloe and I were putting together a whole business plan to get it on Airbnb for you. We could be pulling in $3,000 a month and you call the cops. You're unbelievable. You've always been this way, making everything a huge drama. You owe me an apology. And the locksmith, an Airbnb. So that was it. It wasn't a wellness check. It was a hostile takeover. They weren't trying to secure my house. They were trying to liquidate it. To turn my one quiet place into another one of Leo's revenue streams. The $2,500 I'd loaned him wasn't enough. He wanted my house too. I took a screenshot. Then came the voicemail from my father, Mark. His voice was deep and disappointed, the tone he always used when he wanted to signal that I personally had failed him. Eliza, your mother is hysterical. You need to call Officer Riley and apologize for wasting his time. This is not how we handle things. You're creating a mess, a real mess. Be an adult. Call us. A mess. I was the one who created the mess, not the man with the drill, me the one with the phone. I didn't reply to a single message. I didn't answer a single call. The final piece of data came an hour later from Chloe Leo's girlfriend. A new post on her Instagram story. It was a picture of a sunset with text over it. So grateful for people who understand what sharing and family really mean. Some people are just black holes of negativity. They weren't sorry. They weren't remorseful. They were just angry that the lock was stronger than they expected. And that I had for the first time stopped being the invisible hand and had instead become the archivist of their crimes. I didn't reply to my mother's text. I didn't reply to my father's voicemail. And I certainly didn't reply to Leo. I just sat at my desk in the quiet of my studio apartment. The anger wasn't hot anymore. It wasn't a fire. It was cold. It was clinical. This wasn't a family dispute. This was data entry. I opened my laptop. I created a new master folder on my secure drive. I titled it Harbor House Incident 1128. This is what I do. I'm an archivist. I take chaos and I give it a name and a number. I created subfolders. Folder 1 video, Evidence. I uploaded the 45-second clip from my phone. The sound of the drill was perfectly clear. Folder to photographic. Evidence. I uploaded the picture of the van, the license plate, the close-up of the destroyed deadbolt. Folder 3 digital. Harassment. I uploaded the screenshots. My mother's text calling me an embarrassment. My father's demand for an apology. Chloe's passive-aggressive Instagram post. And most importantly, Leo's long, rambling text. I highlighted the sentence Chloe and I were putting together a whole business plan to get it on Airbnb for you. I renamed that file motive.jpg, folder 4 financials. I opened my old accounting files. I found the bank transfer for $2,500. I found the family loan email chain. I exported the Leo startup taxes spreadsheet I had built for him for the last 3 years. I was just organizing my files. When I was done, I had a complete itemized and time-stamped record of their behavior. I opened my email. I started a new message to Grace, my lawyer. I'd known Grace since college. She was the only person I knew who was more organized than I was. The subject line was simple. Request for legal action, a Harbor House property. I attached the entire master folder. I wrote Grace. Good afternoon. My family attempted to forcibly enter my new property this morning. I have attached a complete archive of the incident, including video of the attempt and their digital communications afterward. Their motive, as stated by my brother, was to convert my property into a commercial rental without my consent. I also included a record of a $2,500 loan that has remained unpaid. I paused, my fingers hovering over the keys. Then I wrote the final line. I am no longer interested in a warning. I want a permanent restraining order against Susan, Mark, and Leo. And I want you to send them a formal demand letter for the $2,500 effective immediately. Please use all attached files as leverage. Regards, Eliza. I hit send. I closed my laptop. This wasn't revenge. This was accounting. Grace called me back 2 hours later. I was expecting an update on the restraining order. I was not expecting what she said. Eliza, she said, and her voice was different. It wasn't just a lawyer's voice. It was sharp. I spoke with Officer Riley. Okay, I said, organizing a stack of blueprints on my desk. Did he serve them? He did more than that. He went to have a chat with the locksmith. The locksmith's company was terrified of a lawsuit, so they had him come down to the station to give a formal statement. I stopped shuffling papers, and Grace said, it seems your brother Leo told Officer Riley that the locksmith suggested picking the lock. He tried to throw the locksmith under the bus, said the man was predatory and convinced your parents it was a good idea. That sounds like Leo, I said. Yes. Well, here's the twist. The locksmith, being understandably furious at having his professional reputation slandered, decided to cooperate fully. He handed Officer Riley his phone. He gave him the entire text thread between himself and your brother Leo. My knuckles went white on the blueprint I was holding. Grace took a breath. Leo didn't just call him, he texted. It's all archived. He initiated contact. The first text from Leo reads, "Need someone for a discreet service. A lockout at a boathouse. Need it done quiet." I sat down. The locksmith replied, asking for proof of ownership. Leo's response, and I am quoting this verbatim, was, "Don't worry about that. It's my sister's place. She's not mentally stable. We're just trying to get her things while she's in the city. We have to get in while she's away. The coldness in my veins turned to ice. Not mentally stable, he wasn't just trying to steal from me, he was trying to erase me, to paint me as insane so he could justify his theft. Grace continued. The locksmith, to his credit, told Leo he would only open it if a family member was present to sign an affidavit. Leo agreed instantly. He also, and this is the best part, tried to haggle on the price and get a startup discount. Grace, I said, my voice barely a whisper. I know, she said. This is no longer a family dispute, Eliza. This isn't just trespassing. This is documented, premeditated, conspiracy to commit breaking and entering. And the text where he calls you mentally unstable, to convince a third party to help him commit a crime. That is slander. That is grounds for a civil suit that will strip him bare. I thought about all the years I had covered for him. The $2,500. The late-night tax forms, the invisible hand that cleaned up his messes. Eliza Grace asked, "Are you there?" "Yes," I said. My voice was steady again. Use it. Use all of it. The final confrontation didn't happen at the boathouse. It happened at my tiny studio apartment 2 days later. I heard the knock and I knew. I looked through the peephole. My mother Susan and my father Mark. They didn't look angry anymore. They looked small. My mother's eyes were red and swollen. My father's shoulders were slumped. I opened the door. I didn't open it all the way, just enough keeping the chain on. "Eliza," my mother said, and her voice cracked. It was a terrible, wet sound. "Eliza, please. You have to stop this. You have to call Grace. You have to call the police." "What are you talking about?" I asked. My voice was level. "Clinical?" The locksmith, my father Mark, said, his voice rough. "He's suing Leo for slander, for fraud. And Officer Riley, they're talking about criminal charges, conspiracy. Eliza, for God's sake, you're destroying your brother." He's terrified. My mother sobbed, putting her hand on the door. "He can't sleep. You're ruining his future. All of this over a stupid empty house. Is it worth it? Tearing your family apart." I looked at her, then at my father. I looked at their pain, and I tried to find the part of me that was supposed to fix it. The part that was supposed to absorb it. I searched for that feeling, and there was nothing there. Just quiet. "I'm not tearing anything apart," I said. "I'm not doing anything. Leo did this. I just archived it." My mother stared at me. "What does that even mean?" "Eliza, he's your brother." "I know," I said. I turned from the door, walked to my desk, and picked up a single folded piece of paper. I walked back and passed it through the gap. "This is the permanent restraining order. Grace had it served to your house this morning. You're not allowed to be here." My father took the paper. His hand was shaking. "Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Dad." I unhooked the chain, and I gently closed the door. I didn't slam it. It just made a soft, firm click. The legal battle ended quickly. Leo took a plea deal to avoid the civil suit from the locksmith. He got probation and a fine. I heard they had to sell my father's second car, the one he polished every Sunday, to pay for the legal fees. I didn't hear from them again. It's spring now. The light on the lake is different. It's softer. I'm sitting at my desk in the boathouse, sorting through a box of old architectural blueprints from the 1940s. I opened my laptop. I navigated to the family debts XLSX file. I opened it. That one-line item stared back at me. "Leo, coding boot camp, $2,500. I looked at the number for a long time. I thought about the files, the ledgers, the invisible work. I clicked on the file, I dragged it to the trash icon. I clicked the icon and I selected empty trash. I closed my eyes. And for the first time in my 30 years, there was no noise in my head, just the sound of the water lapping against the dock. If you've spent your life being the reliable one, if you're the one who brings the spreadsheets and the tax forms and the quiet support, if you're the one they call the fixer or the organizer, this is for you. You are not a function. You are not a utility. You are not the invisible hand. Your peace is not selfish. Your boundaries are not drama. They are the blueprints. They are the deed. They are the lock on the door of the house you always deserved to own. You are the archivist of your own story. Make sure you're the one writing it.